stop Judgment Day.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Box Office QBs. As my guy Jeff would say, we always say that, but the truth of the matter is it is special when it's us two, the two co-founders of the BOQBs. And now we get to bring some of our biggest likes together. We get to bring big, action-packed, R-rated, fun horror into the anime universe. So yes, this is technically an Otaku-verse episode, which I know all of you really love the kaiju one. We'll get to that one later. But today, what we're here to talk about is Terminator Zero. Terminator Zero. If you watch the Japanese version or if you watch the English dub, doesn't really matter. I did Japanese, Jeff did English, but we've had so much fun with this project. So much fun watching this film. These 8 episodes, I want to say, is what they were. And I just want to really get that started off just real quick off the bat, I guess. But Jeff, I know you were real big. You're real big in the Terminator. So how excited were you to really get into this one?
Yeah, I love this franchise, and this is like the first R-rated franchise I was ever allowed to watch as a kid. Rented these movies from Blockbuster all the time. After Terminator 2, there is a huge drop off in this franchise. Like every movie is worse than the last. This is the best addition to the Terminator universe since Terminator 2. I can tell you that. I was so blown away by this show. And Gerald knows it's hard to get me into anime stuff, but this caught my attention for obvious reasons, and I finished the show in 3 days.
Yeah, you were ready to talk about this like I don't know 5 days ago. Really, honestly, it took me a little while, and I do apologize for that. But when I got into it, and honestly, the first 5 minutes just caught me by surprise. Um, I am not a giant Terminator fan. I'm not afraid to admit it. I liked one. Two was cool. The rest, yeah, I do have to agree with you. They were ass cheeks in a box. So I was just not really sure what to expect from this. But I was excited to get to do a show with my boy Jeff on two things that we both really like in anime and in Terminator. On a story written by, excuse me, Masson Tomlin, to really bring together a beautiful 8 episodes of television. Absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if you guys, and hopefully some of our Otakuverse listeners recognize some of those names. Production IG, Kaiju number 8, Masashi Kudo, our Lord and Savior Bleach. I mean, that man helped develop what Ichigo looks like in anime. So we should all thank him, especially what's coming out in Thousand Year Blood War. But then we should also thank him for doing everything he did with Terminator Zero and pumping life into a franchise that, to me, at least to fans like me, was kind of dead. But just because I thought it was dead doesn't mean it is. In fact, I mean, from the get go, this story had me on the edge of my seats. From the animation, the characters, the emotion in the animation and in the voice acting, it was all fantastic. And Jeff, do you want to tell them a little bit about, our listeners, a little bit about what they're missing out on before we jump into spoilers?
Yeah, so this is set the day before Judgment Day, which is August 29th, 1997. This is August 28th, 1997. That's when the Americans launch Skynet, and Skynet becomes self aware within seconds, determines that the human race is not all that cracked up to be, and nukes the shit out of the planet and brings forth the rise of the machines. This is set in Japan, in Tokyo, where Malcolm Lee is building an AI of his own, Kokoru, and he is basically preparing her to be our last defense against Skynet. So not only do they take the story out of the US where we normally see it, they set it in Japan, and I really like that there are people on the other side of the world trying to prevent the apocalypse too, because so many times in movies you see just how one-sided everything is. Like the Americans are always the saviors, and no one else is doing anything, and it's all dependent on us. Here, it makes a lot of sense because Japan is just so much more advanced than us in a lot of different things. So it would really make sense that they have this genius over here, and we learn more of his backstory, working on stopping Skynet in its tracks.
And it's such an awesome idea because, like, one, it's something you can easily fit into a universe like Terminator, I think. not having explained it because, in a world where most people are dead, how are you going to contact the people that are in Japan? But I really also like just the thought and the idea of like Japan right now, all the Japanese people are kind of prisoners in their own land, in their own homes, while also being protected. Like they look in the sky at the end of episode 8. We're going to go ahead and jump into spoilers. You also, sorry, go watch this damn show. We're going to give it a good review. But um, anyway, we're imagining all like the end of episode 8 where you see all the bombs going off in the sky. And I think that was like just so, what's the word? Like, not daunting, but just kind of maybe a little haunting, even just like think about that. Like you're prisoners, you're scared for your own life, but you look in the sky and you realize there is nobody else out there. There's nobody coming to help you.
Yeah, like we see a little bit of what this would look like in Terminator 2. Like Sarah Connor has a vision of the nukes going off in LA, and then she's like blasted with it, and then she like turns into this burnt out skeleton, and it's a really haunting image for anybody that's ever watched that movie. This is that times like 1,000. Like this is the most violent edition of this franchise by far. I know you can get away with a lot more in animation and especially in kind of long form TV, but this really shows you like the horrors of what a nuclear apocalypse would look like. And I think that they did such a great job of portraying that and just showing the desperation of humanity and why they're sending these soldiers back in time to prevent all of this from happening.
I mean, the full spectrum of human emotion. And I mean, you even see some of that spectrum in one of the main characters that turns out to be a robot. Um, these characters were very well animated, very well voice acted, from the Japanese and English side. So like it was just it's really something that comes together so perfectly in the fights, man. The fights, and you talk about the blood. I want to call back to our episode on the Batman animated series that we did recently, where I called the animation flat. And I think if you want a good example of it, I'd put like a fight from that one and a fight from this one side by side. Pick any of the fights, any of them. The best fight from that one and the worst fight in the show, or the best and best. I don't care. What you're going to see is you're going to see better action. You're going to see a lot more blood, a lot more gore, and some crazy moves being put on screen. Um, some stuff that just feels like callbacks to other anime, other big fights, and it's while also being its own thing. I love the way they show water in this show. The way they show water, oh my gosh! Um, and what's really good about the animation too is that even when they do wide shots, which wide shots aren't common in some good in some, and they're common, but they're not. They're a little more common when you're trying to be a little cheaper on the animation. But even in those wide shots, they don't lose a lot of the detail, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, like the scenes with Malcolm and Kokoru in that room, they're fucking
That was
beautiful,
crazy.
man.
That was
Like the
crazy.
colors are so like vibrant, and you got like the pink and the red and the purple and everything going here. It's just a really beautiful style of animation they got going. Like, say what you want about Netflix and their anime department, but this and Blue Eye Samurai, I think, are two of the best animated shows we've gotten in the past year for sure. And, definitely compared to the Batman show, Batman Cape Crusader, like this is leaps and bounds ahead of that.
Yeah, when you're talking about a lot, especially a lot of the stuff we've talked about, yes, absolutely. Netflix definitely surprised the shit out of me. Netflix still has it sometimes. Problem is they cancel things way too damn early,
Yeah.
and they charge an arm and a leg for sharing, or they don't even let you share anymore.
Yeah.
But um, that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and jump into our favorite characters. Who are your favorite characters for this show?
Like I love Masaki and just the slow reveal of her being a cyborg too. This is what they wanted to do in Terminator Salvation. Like in Terminator Salvation, you have this character played by Sam Worthington who is revealed to be a cyborg or a Terminator, but they didn't execute it the way I thought that they could. Here, this Terminator is tied to the main character Malcolm in such a beautiful way. Like he builds her to teach humanity that this technology can be used for good, and obviously they don't listen. And then she becomes the protector of his kids. I really did love her probably the most of any character.
Absolutely, and also she's Bay. No, she's just like I know she's a fucking robot, but goddamn, I mean, the otaku part of me was over here like waifu immediately. Like the hair, the eyes, the purple eyes. Anytime a character has purple eyes, I'm like, I don't care. I'm I'm gonna simp over this character for the next 20 years. It's a thing. But yeah, she was fantastic. I really loved her. Her fight scenes were amazing. Some of the best fight scenes, hand to hand combat, amazing stuff right there. Again, production IG did some really good fight signs earlier this year with Kaiju number 8. They've done, and then we've seen a lot of in Kudo, Masashi Kudo. He's directed the Bleach movies, a few of those. He's done a lot of good fight signs too. So we see fight scenes too. So we've seen a lot of good fight scenes from all these people, and then they brought it together and really put it. Misaki's story and her scenes, perfect. Also, a character I'm going to surprise you with is the second favorite for me, Rika, the little girl. Funny
She
as
was good.
shit, smart, little ballsy,
Yeah.
probably the bravest of all the siblings, if we're being honest. I mean, the second she sees a Terminator, she gets a little scared, and then after Aiko saves her, she goes, Terminator. That's kind of like, was that a Terminator? Like just immediately, just like yes.
Yeah.
But so you get her. She was great, and I also really enjoyed Kokoro. I enjoyed her scenes. I enjoyed how Kokoro explained how I guess it sees human society. Um, a lot of deep thought there, and that's stuff that you'll get from anime sometimes. And you get it here in droves, and I loved it.
Yeah. Like the only character that really bothered me, I guess, was Malcolm. I just wanted him to do more. Like,
Mhm.
if your kids are missing, I would have left that room in a heartbeat. But
I get that. I get
yeah,
that. I will say, anime parents notoriously bad, but anime parents are notorious, especially the dads, notoriously assholes. Notoriously don't show up when need be. And for all fairness, he kind of didn't be there. If he leaves that room, Kokoro could just decide Japan sucks too and fuck everybody. So,
yeah,
like,
I guess
in
that's
all
true.
fairness,
I
he
was
didn't
like,
have to
this
be
this
there.
Terminator has a shotgun to your kid's
Um,
head.
and
But
I like and after watching it, and mind you, this is just how off like top of the riffs as I just finished it today, was the way I saw it, especially keeping in mind how because I was having the same thoughts at some point, like how long is this man just going to sit in this fucking room? And how I came to the conclusion I just came to was that in the last episode, right before he dies, he says to Kokoro like, how does he say it in English? It was like now do you see what I see? And while he's showing what his son, he's talking about what his son's about to do. Are you about to see my son put faith in you? Are you about to see that humans do put faith in things and humans are willing to change and humans are able to surprise you? And the next thing you know, you have Kokoro having a face to face. And she says exactly like, I am now finding myself in your dad's shoes. In other words, I'm seeing what your dad's seeing. In fact, in Japanese, I believe that's how she says it. It's like, I am seeing what your dad's seeing. I find myself standing where your dad would be. Um, and then she talks to him and has the whole anime like, "Come on, come to Jesus talk." So, but like, it was I really enjoyed that, and I think that to me was showing that that's also why Malcolm wasn't opening the door. That's why Malcolm did what he did. That's why he didn't go search. That's why he sent Misakai to search. And then with the Misakai thing, I think Misakai is a really beautiful character because it's not just the fact that he created her, but it's also the fact that everything she has, everything that she knows, and why she cares, and how she cares, and what she loves, and what she does to protect is there because of her free will and how she sees it's what been reflected from Malcolm. So no, Malcolm might not be the most present father, but I do believe that he has shown, at least to Misakai, that he does care so much for his children and his wife. And this is how he's going to do it, show that by saving the world to where he can have them grow into a life without having these Skynet threats.
that was beautifully put. So you you really did change my opinion there.
Oh God, awkward. Anyway, yeah. So let's
Yeah,
go ahead and go to final rankings. I think I know where we're gonna land on this. I hope you don't mind if I go first, Jeff.
go first. This is
But
your
I'm
thing.
I'm I'm low key gonna say this one's a Hall of Fame. This is one of the better animes on Netflix that I've seen that Netflix has made. I mean, it's fun. It doesn't have a lot of humor in it. I'll give you that. But when it does have a humor, it has great humor in my opinion. Um, and I think some of it lands really well in the Japanese dub. I would have to ask Jeff for that for the English dub. But the animation is just so damn beautiful. You can't take away from it. And the fact that it breathed life for me into a franchise that I thought was dead, a franchise that when I heard they were making this, I was like, why are we still making Terminator shit? Um, it breathed life into it, and it really impressed me. So for me, I'm going to give that a Hall of Fame.
I think, yeah, I think this is just gonna get a Hall of Fame for me too, like a low Hall of Fame. But that is like the difference between an A and an A plus here. Like this is a great show. This has reinvigorated this franchise that honestly probably should have stayed dead after Terminator 2, but the fact that we got this made it all worth it. I loved what they did with all the franchise staples here. I love the Terminator. I like that he had a little crossbow coming out of his arm. I love the new protagonists. Everything about this is worth your time. And even if you're not into anime as much as Gerald is or as little as I am, this is like the bridging of two worlds. And me and Gerald are the testament to that. Like, if you're a Terminator fan, anime, you really got to watch this show.
Yeah, yeah, you really do. And like it's not a shonen by any means. It's no Bleach, it's no Naruto, it's no One Piece or Kaiju. It's not anything like that. Um, but it's anime, and I would say it's fair. It's honest anime. It has a Japanese original. It has a lot of Japanese jokes, Japanese names. It's very centered on the Japanese culture of the whole thing, and it's beautifully just directed. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time, and 10 out of 10 would recommend. Before we say our goodbyes, though, I do want to rub y'all's face down a little bit of something. I think I was right. So I know a lot of our Otakuverse fans have been actually watching the Kaiju number 8 theory video that I put out recently, and I want to thank you for that. But also want to mention that I was right because in the most recent Kaiju number 8 manga that was released just about a week ago from this recording, it was it was really good. It was really good. You should read it. But what I'm going to do is hopefully find a way to really make a good video for you all to really talk about it, especially when it's fully revealed. Because right now there's just some hints that my theory was entirely right. And what my theory is, I think you should go spend I think like 9 minute video that I have up watching it and to get that because it's fantastic. And I think there's a lot of proving proof points in there that you'll find pretty interesting, especially after you read the most recent manga issue from Kaiju number 8, where Kaiju number 10 actually brings him into what I'm thinking is kind of like almost a Naruto inside him Kurama world, where he's talking to the Kurama inside him type of shit. But in that little world, we get to see a samurai mask. We get to hear a lot from Kaiju number 10, including telling us, I thought you were and you are, basically. So really a lot of exciting things going on in the kaiju universe, stuff that we're going to see in the anime probably in seasons 5, 6, or even more. So other than that, we're going to be talking some new stuff. MHA has its season 7 wrapping up pretty soon. Really great season. I do want to talk about that because I think it might be the best season of MHA ever, and I would like to get some of our viewers' thoughts on that. And once Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Part 2 starts to come out, or Part 3 comes out, I'm also going to be talking about that because holy hell, if it looks anywhere near as good as what Masashi Kudo did here, I'm sure it's going to be fucking perfect over there. So unless Jeff has anything else to say,
See you guys later.
follow us on social media, Twitter, X, whatever it's called,
It's
Facebook,
Twitter.
Instagram, TikTok, all of the good ones. Make sure you follow us.